Very good. Go. What's up, everybody? Happy St. Patrick's Day as I get set up here. Okay. Yeah, I should really have like a fancy intro, but I don't. So you get to see me flailing around and setting stuff up. But here we go. Oh, right. Just messing with my monitor settings the other day. That's... Ooh. Hot. Someday I'm going to show everybody this mixing board interface that I have for my audio box. Doesn't make any sense. It's way too powerful. Just had a tune in my head. And I lost it. that tune. I don't remember the name of that tune. And I'm not going to guess. And there's no way to look that sort of thing up. So if anybody remembers it, shout it out. But greetings, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Paddy's Day, the abbreviation for Patrick being Paddy, not Petty. Get it right. Happy March 17th. And I just figured I'd play some mandolin, because mandolin is like a fiddle, and I get to play some fiddle tunes, Celtic, Irish, big influence on bluegrass. We talked a little bit about that a couple weeks ago, last time I was on here. And talked about modes. I don't really want to get too far down that rabbit hole again. But I did want to say that we were talking about modes, and I mentioned some of the modes are more common, and some of the modes are less common. And one of the modes I mentioned, I won't say the name of the mode, and I will actually just play this little piece of music, and then you tell me what mode it is, based on last time. So this is kind of like homework, or a pop quiz, or something. And then I'm gonna eat my sandwich, because I gotta eat that sandwich. It is a Jersey Mike's number 13 regular Italian on whole wheat bread, prepared Mike's way with banana peppers. So in case that's ever a security question, you can hack into all my accounts now, because that's pretty much what we get all the time. So modes, right? We were talking about modes. And I was thinking about modes, and then I went and I watched, bonus points to anybody who either guesses what mode this is or what movie it's from. Okay? So I'm just going to play this, this little bit of like interstitial background music. Anybody remember this? I'm just going to do it for a solid minute. Because it's my live stream, and I can do what I want. And I'm just going to pull up a timer. I'm going to do this for 1 minute. Again, bonus points if you can guess the movie that it's from or the mode that it's in. Okay? 3, 2, 1, go. That was a fun minute for me. I don't know if anyone else had fun, but somebody guessed the mode correctly on incorrectly on Facebook, correctly on YouTube. The correct answer for what mode is this, and thank you for playing along with that game, comes from Arcos Turbo. This is the Phrygian mode. The Phrygian mode, folks. That is characterized by a half step initially, and that might have thrown you if you were expecting it to be Locrian mode. It's not Locrian. It does start with a half step, both of those modes, and a whole step, and a whole step. So there's a perfect fifth in this mode, just like almost every mode has a perfect fifth in it. So, so we get, 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, and that's all you heard in that. But that's enough to tell you, even without hearing the 7, which would be probably flat, to tell you that those are the key identifying elements of the Phrygian mode. Correct. And let's see if anybody gets the movie. Does anybody have the movie? Anybody? I love this because there was no tritone so technically there is a tritone in all the modes, but where it's located it moves. So all the intervals are the same. We touched on this a little bit last time, but I feel like I should point out that since we have that handy trick of you can generate any mode just by taking a major scale and starting on a different note and then just playing all the same notes, what that means is all of the intervals that are in a major scale, including a tritone, are in all of the modes of a major scale. So the Locrian would be identified as having that tritone relationship between the 1 and the flat 5. And so it comes out really clearly in like the 1 chord. But it's worth mentioning that there is a tritone in every mode. It just moves around where it is. So for instance, in a major scale, you'd have the 4 and the 7. And you get your tritone right there. And in any other scale, it would be, whatever you call that 4 and whatever you call that 7. But it exists. It exists in all of the modes. What's up, everybody? Greetings from Afghanistan, from Ireland. Where else we got? We got a response to a conversation that seems to be pre-existing about automobiles that are way too powerful, that are not necessarily a bad thing. And greetings from Cornwall. I was just talking about Cornwall. I was just actually thinking, I had this thought. You probably know this, but has everybody on here had an empanada? Just comment yes or no in the chat. Yes, I have had an empanada. No, I have not had an empanada. And this may be common knowledge to a lot of folks, but it's really interesting to think about. So empanadas, coming from, I believe, the mountains of Argentina, originally, where they came from before that was apparently they came over. If you've had a Cornish pasty, it's essentially the same thing. And the Cornish miners came over from Cornwall to work in the Argentinian mines, and brought over their pasties, and they became empanadas, which I think is really cool, and which made me have a separate thought, which was I would love to see either like an academic paper or an album of music or something that examined different mountain musics, like from different mountainous regions in the world. Because I have this theory that's, again, probably not my unique theory, but I have this thought that, like, not just, like, we know that Appalachian music and music from, like, the Scottish Highlands are connected, but I have a feeling that, like, more than just those regions, if you were to look at maybe, Andean music, Himalayan music from the Alps, you probably would find a lot of similarities. You think about, like, you get, like, that high lonesome yodel singing in a lot of places. You get, some, like, really unearthly sounds vocally there. You get maybe some kind of a rudimentary string instrument, nothing too fancy. And you get, like, extremely loud wind instruments. You get, like, bagpipes or, like, the enormous horn. What else? A lot of stuff, right? So So I just had that thought that like kind of like the Empanada album, you know, that like goes from one mountainous region to another. Anyways, yes. Hello everybody again. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Oh yeah, I was pulling up some lyrics a second ago. Yes. I don't know. Well, sure. Why not? Although thinking about it, if anybody has like an actual like St. Patrick song, that would be cool to know about. So drop it in the comments and I will learn it for next year. Just do a Bill Monroe song that I learned from the Skaggs and Rice album, Mansions for Me, just because it's stuck in my head. Every time you pick up an instrument, some things just jump out. You know, just that sort of Bill Monroe stuff. There's folks building homes as sweet as can be. They're leveling their yards and planting their trees. But my little hut, I'll just let it be. Lord Jesus is building a mansion for me. A mansion for me, a mansion for me, a mansion for me, a mansion for me, built by my Lord beyond Calvary. But my little hut, I'll just let it be. Lord Jesus is building a mansion for me. Each day I am getting more ready to go. He's cleansing my sins more whiter than snow. I'm packing my troubles, I'm bound with his love. Get ready to move to heaven above. Mansion for me, a mansion for me, a mansion for me, a mansion for me, built by my Lord beyond Calvary. But my little hut, I'll just let it be. Lord Jesus is building a mansion for me. world below. Driving fine cars wherever you go. There's coming a time when we all pass away. Get ready to move with me on that day. Mansion for me, a mansion for me, built by my Lord beyond Calvary. But my little hut, I'll just let it be. Lord Jesus is building a mansion for me. The tough thing to do with that song is all that duet stuff, which is sort of the whole point of the song. So it's hard to execute that with one person. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that one always jumps out. It's just so idiomatic on the instrument. Like, it's not like I think about like live the simple life. Well, I do. I totally think about that all the time. But also, it's mostly just like you pick up a mandolin and it's just, you know, you hear that, you want to play that, and then you hear that, and then you have to do the whole song. You have to look up the lyrics. It's kind of like Cartman, where if you just sing him the first line of "Come Sail Away," you know, gotta do it, gotta do the whole thing. Oh, you know what? Yeah, Uncle Pen is a good time. Uncle Pen, I feel like, though, I would want to do ironically on the guitar, because the thing that jumps out to me about that is always that little G run, which you can totally do on a mandolin. Some down over here above the town. Uncle Pen play the fiddle. Uncle Pen play the fiddle. How it sing? You can hear it talk. You can hear it ring. You know, like you need to be able to hit that. But I mean, yeah, I guess I just kind of proved the point there. Late in the evening about sundown, high over hills and above the town, Uncle Ben played the fiddle, Lord, how it sang. You could hear it talk, hear it ring. I don't know the words to that one either, so I'll look it up in a minute. Let's see. Is there a bluegrass atheist hymn? That's a good question. I mean, kind of gets at the whole question of, is there an atheist hymn? Never mind whether it's bluegrass. There's also the question of, is there, atheist bluegrass? Getting away from the specific question about hymns. And I would say both, like, yes, of course, there's a lot of variety within bluegrass, and then also, the influence of gospel music has always been, a relatively big part, but not an unavoidable part. I mean, you don't have to, for instance, like, you don't have to do a gospel song in every set. You certainly don't have to have particular religious beliefs to be a bluegrass musician. It's just, it's sort of part of its history. But just because something is part of the history does not mean it has to be, retained or lauded. What was it? I'm pretty sure Steve Martin has some sort of an atheist Christmas song or an atheist something song, atheist hymn, on the album Rare Bird Alert that he did with the Steep Canyon Rangers. But I haven't learned it. So I don't know if that answers your question. But But to me, I will sort of answer your question with like a weaselly workaround, which is that for me personally, when I'm playing, and there's a lot of these songs in there. Like I didn't pick up the mandolin and was like, I'm going to sing a song about the Lord. No, I picked it up and I was like, I love that lick. Oh right, that's that song. Something mansions, something Calvary. Okay, well, that's all very hyper specific, but it's a song. So I figured, all right, I'll engage with that. And to me, like, I personally tend to think a lot more about the message that is being carried by the song, much more than like this is a Christian song, and so everybody's got to share in Christian beliefs. I'm not. I try not to be on that page at all. Much more just like if that song is about valuing simple things, and I don't know, sort of keeping in mind ideas of equality. I don't know. I don't really think too hard about those lyrics. But it is a nice sounding song. And so in that way, I think it probably falls into that much broader category of bluegrass songs that sound so pretty, and if we don't think too much about what the lyrics say, we can just sort of enjoy the music. And so that in that way, it fits right in with like all the murder ballads and terrible things too. Yeah. So what do we got? Oh boy, we got a lot of great song recommendations over on the Twitch. This is a good list. This is a good list. I should probably learn some of these. I'm gonna eat my sandwich. Guys, that's why you're here, folks. It is Danjo's hour and a half live stream slot, and Danjo has a baby, which means that this is Danjo's free time right now to eat a sandwich. So, what's good? Yeah, I should probably mute the mic. I'm not gonna eat on mic. Yeah. I wish I could just like watch the number of followers. I'm just like chomping on this sandwich and it's just like, boo! You have no followers. Alright. Maybe not the time. What to talk about? What to say? Oh, we got our song played on Mars the other day. I actually don't know whether I should say that was like 2 or 3 days ago, or if it was more like a day and a half ago, because I think Mars days are a different length. And I know that because so if it hasn't been explained, well, first of all, we had our song played on Mars. This is true. It's a true thing that happened, and it's really freaking cool. It's really exciting. The way it happened was the Perseverance rover is capable of playing sound. I think it was the Curiosity rover before that would play itself Happy Birthday every year. I think on the anniversary of when it landed. So Perseverance, I don't know if they have like an upgraded sound system or what. It might be very simple. But they sent it our music. And then it got played on Mars. Which sort of raises more questions than answers. Like, if you play your song on Mars and no one's there to hear it, like does it count as a spin? does it count as radio play? That's actually a really good question. That's a really, really good question. But anyway, yeah, we had our song played, and that was very cool. We know some of the folks at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. We actually got to visit and take a little tour, and this was a while ago. This was during 2019, if I remember correctly, and so we actually got to see the rover being built, being worked on before it took off and flew to Mars and drove around Mars and played our music. So that was cool. That was very cool. They're good folks. I remember we were talking to them at one point about driving the rover, which they do, and how they have different teams to cover the different time periods, because the day is different over there, and like there's, I guess, during the period of dark, like there's just that window where like I think they don't get radio signal because the planet blocks it. But outside of that, like the wake window shifts, so your shift might be during the middle of our day or during the middle of our night. I forget how long it actually is. It was very cool. And one of them actually said to me, Scott, I think, said to me, I asked, and these are, you can imagine people who work with NASA at JPL, or just generally, putting things into space, who deal with the science aspect of it. They're very inquisitive and interesting people. I think if you're somebody who finds the world interesting, that makes you pretty interesting. I think my grandmother used to say, if you're bored, it might be because you're boring. And I've always appreciated people who have that kind of outlook of just like what about that? What's that over there? How do we get over there? Even as much as looking up into the sky and saying, what's that over there, and how do we get there? So I was talking to Scott, and I thought, what is something that you learned that like you didn't know before, that you learned from essentially exploring Mars remotely, like through all this study, what does it actually tell us, and I think he mentioned, there's a bunch of things, obviously, and one of them is that Mars used to have a thicker atmosphere, which has a lot of implications, I think, in terms of like maybe being able to, have sustained life. And the reason that they knew that Mars, or could deduce that Mars had a thicker atmosphere at one time, was because they looked at, I guess, meteors that had struck the surface of Mars. And they looked at the meteor, the size of the meteor, density, the weight of it, and they looked at the impact, and they basically deduced that it was that a meteor this size in this atmosphere would have no drag, basically, and hit the surface really hard. It didn't hit that hard, as you can measure from the impact, from the crater and everything. And because of that, you're able to figure out, okay, well, if it looks like it's impacted, like with dating, if it looked like it impacted X million years ago, and it didn't hit that hard, then it has to have been cushioned by something, which we can then deduce to be an atmosphere of, of greater density, which is cool, but it's not what he said ultimately as his answer. I asked him, what's sort of the coolest thing that you take away from investigating Mars, and he said, we turned a god into a planet. which just, both blew my mind and sat really nicely on my ear. And I haven't finished it yet, but I immediately started working on trying to make that into a song of some kind. And maybe that's the bluegrass atheist hymn, or the bluegrass, scientific exploration hymn. Deep stuff. Deep stuff. Gotta say, I do sometimes empathize with some of these teachers that have all the cameras turned off, all their kids' cameras. You don't see them. You don't get any reactions. How are my teachers at? Any teachers out there? Anybody teaching? Anybody doing the Zoom thing? Anybody doing the in-person thing? I hope not. Thank you, Lynn. What's good to do? Let's see. I was watching. God, does anybody have a favorite bad movie? I feel like I've been wanting to like give my brain a break recently, and so I've just been trying to like put on. Well, okay, I shouldn't say bad movies because that's really too broad. Because there's action movies that don't necessarily take a lot of concentration that are actually really good, which is why I was watching. Oh yeah, I never said what this is from. Okay, so first of all, let me put the thoughts in order. Okay, nobody's guessed it. Somebody said The Exorcist. It's not The Exorcist. Somebody said some other thing, I think. So this is like the on the move sort of action theme from the Bourne Identity movies. The Bourne movies. This is like if Jason Bourne like walks up and drops a cell phone in somebody's pocket, who's being watched, and then he calls the cell phone and they tells him to like, evade the grab team, and it's all. So that's the Phrygian mode example, where I was just watching the Bourne movies like a week or two ago. Immediately after, it was like the day after I did all that stuff about modes, and I thought, oh, Phrygian mode, man, the perfect example of the Phrygian mode. So that's from the Bourne movies, and I was watching the Bourne movies because I enjoy them. They're a lot of fun. There's something appealing about a character who, was trained as a deadly assassin, and then like doesn't want to be a deadly assassin. Everybody keeps making him be a deadly assassin. I'm not trying to say I identify with that in any way, but you get to sort of examine a lot of the subtleties. The other day I was watching The Dark Knight Rises, and I noticed that John Blake, who is implied to be Robin, because I guess it's his first name in the movie. John Blake is a cop, and through the movie he sort of has this journey of like becoming not a cop, basically. He loses his uniform first, where he goes in and he talks to Gordon, And the commissioner says, oh, okay, you're working for me now as a detective because you're smart, so lose the uniform. So he takes his uniform off. Then he's going after some witnesses, and he ends up getting in a fight and shooting one or both of them. And so now they're not witnesses anymore. Now they're just dead. And he looks at his gun and he just throws it away. Like, what is this thing? Which is sort of an important moment because you're supposed to see that and say, okay, so he's like Batman. He has this disdain for guns now. And then finally, at the end of the movie, where he just totally loses his faith in sort of systems of order and people following rules. So like there's cops on the other side of the bridge and they're trying to evacuate, and the cops say, no, you can't do it. We're gonna blow the bridge in order to keep you from jeopardizing everybody else. And Blake is just really, really disappointed in that. And so at the end of that, he throws his badge away. So there's with the good action movies, there's stuff it's worth rewatching to catch all the little subtleties and how deep it is, and it's great. And then there's other movies. So I was watching Ghost Rider again. Have you folks ever watched the movie? Let me look up when this is. I'm kind of looking it up in an effort to like excuse it because it just feels 2007. Oh, there's a sequel. Oh my god. I can't even imagine how bad the sequel to this movie would be, because the Ghost Rider I don't know. I had seen it before. I had seen it, I don't know, probably shortly after it came out. But it's so bad. It's from 2007, and I have this feeling it just felt a lot like the first Fantastic Four movie, which is 2005. I'm just looking that up. And then the sequel, Silver Surfer, is 2007, but I never saw that. Yeah, so that makes sense to me. So Fantastic Four, 2005, and Ghost Rider, 2007. And that was a tough era. I will go on record as saying not the greatest era for superhero movies. I don't think there'll be an easy way for me to look up like. Well, hold on. Let me maybe amend that and say maybe it's more it was a hard time for Marvel superhero movies, because here I am just talking about the Batman Christopher Nolan trilogy, and now I want to look up and see what year that was from, because which just goes to show that like sometimes good things and bad things happen at the same time. So this is funny, right? Like this was really kind of a good era for DC, right? Because Batman Begins 2005, Dark Knight 2008, Dark Knight Rises 2012, and in that time, Fantastic Four the same year as Batman Begins, Ghost Rider a year before The Dark Knight. Like there's some real and I enjoy Fantastic Four enough that I would rewatch it, and I have. But Ghost Rider is so bad. I could spend an hour and a half, and I won't, but I could spend a lot of time talking about how bad that movie was. It's a bad movie. Peak Nicolas Cage, absolutely true. There's some real peak moments in that movie where he's like mugging at himself in the mirror. That's great. There he gets his like transformation into not the greatest CGI flaming skull in the world. Where I think we've all seen Nicolas Cage like doing the like laughing in pain that he does in a lot of movies. He definitely nails it in Ghost Rider while his skull is on fire, and he also does this. Like he does that. He does this point, this like exaggerated point. I don't know how many times in that movie. I feel like at one point, haha. Um, at one moment, I'm sure he looked at the director, whoever it was, and it was just like, "Are we doing this again? I thought I already did this. Do we need another take? No, this is a separate scene. This is like the fifth scene where I'm just like, like it's you're innocent, or you're guilty, or you go away, or you get over here." Like, he does it a lot. And it ends up feeling very overused. I don't know. You'd kind of have to see it, I guess. But you don't have to see it. You really don't. Like, this is one of those I watched it so you don't have to kind of situations. If you enjoy watching bad movies and you want to go into it with that expectation, have at it. Absolutely have at it. But it's a bad movie. And that's a shame because, and I was sort of thinking about this earlier, one of the things that I like a lot about bluegrass music, I'll come back to this in a second. One of the things I like about bluegrass music, and a lot of the, not necessarily religion specifically, but at least like the spiritual aspect of a lot of bluegrass music is, sort of the way that it's able to relate kind of, deeper themes to essentially, simple living, I guess would be probably the clearest way to say what I'm trying to say. So you have these sort of relatable folk tales. Okay, I should just say that, yes. Folk tales with a tinge of the supernatural sometimes added to, like, give it weight. You got, like, ghost story songs. You got, like, sort of Long Black Veil songs, or, Pretty Polly or Banks of the Ohio, or a lot of the murder ballads, like, have an element where, like, the ghost comes back and, like, pursues somebody, or the spirit of vengeance pursues somebody, or something about it, like, and like, all we're really saying is, like, and then the murderer felt guilty, right? But the way that it's said in the song is like, and then, he saw her face wherever he went, and that's powerful. That's really powerful storytelling, and I love it. I love that. Songs that do that. The House Carpenter, any song where somebody turns out to be the devil, because, like, what is the devil after all, right? So the reason I think of that in connection with Ghost Rider is, of course, as far as I'm aware, I think the whole movie and the comic book character and everything is based off of, originally, and I don't know where Johnny Cash got it, but there's a song that I learned from my dad, and I'm just gonna see if I can find anything that predates, because it's such a great song, and it's called "Ghost Riders in the Sky." Ghost Riders in the Sky. Let's see here. Stan Jones, Eden Abez, Burl Ives. And I wonder, like, how far back it goes. Because it's a great story, right? If you're not familiar with the story, Ghost Riders in the Sky, it's sort of a version of, it's honestly kind of a combination of like a purgatory, but also sort of like Valhalla of the West. Like, so a guy's riding, and he has this vision of these ghostly riders, and they're cowboys, and they're doing a cattle drive, and like the cattle are like devilish cattle, and they've got red eyes and like snorting smoke, and their hooves are sparking, and I think the horses are also, red eyes and smoke and sparks and stuff, and the riders basically say something along the lines of, like, we are like damned or doomed to just be riding out here forever in this, like, this wide open plain in the sky, and it's just it's great imagery, It's great imagery. It's, you know, sort of straightforward folktale type of thing. And probably want to play this on guitar. Yeah, I'm gonna play on guitar. It's a really nifty song. It's a nifty song. And just give me a second, and I will show you. I'll show you. Yeah. So at least the Johnny Cash version, I haven't heard like the Burl Ives version, but now I want that. Johnny Cash version is very like classic Western. So you've got, you know, electric guitar playing the line. So it's all minor. You know, and you've got the hard to do justice on one guitar. It's great. Just musically, it gets you there. Really gets you there. So much minor. So many minor chords. And then the chorus is just yippee-i-oh, yippee-i-ay, ghost riders in the sky. You know, it's just, you know, it's just classic, eerie, and it's almost too much. Like it's archetypal. Like if you wanted to make something that sounded like that, I feel like you'd start with like, well, let's do Ghost Riders in the Sky, and then try to find some way to dial it back from there, because that's just it's just the most. It's just the most. So good. It's so vibey. It's so gothic. I wouldn't say Southern Gothic necessarily, maybe Western Gothic. And there is sort of that whole subgenre of like, you know, supernatural Western, you know, longhorn skull out in the sand and hallucinating things. Which is, and that's really less found in bluegrass music. That's going to be more like country Western music, but you know, obviously related, obviously very close, just maybe not geographically super duper linked. But yeah, you know, and I've had this song stuck in my head for a while, and I played it I think a couple weeks ago, but I don't know who all was here then. And since this is related, I don't know. I guess this is a theme that I think about a lot. You know, sort of the supernatural in common life. This is a song called "Dark Angel" by Whit Kana. I heard a loud cry calling my name. I saw angels fly, and darkly they came. out of my drunken head. Then I rose and I staggered the floor. I threw on my clothes and I fell out the door. Out on the sidewalk, I fell to my knees. I begged, dear Lord, please, won't get drunk no more. If you forgive me. I went back home to my kids and my wife with just one more chance. We could start a new life, but the face of a stranger out from my door. Who are you looking for? I heard him say, she don't live here no more. She moved away just 1 year ago. Just her and her children, where I don't know. Said her husband died a drunkard, it was a shame. He spoke my name, and I saw angels fly, fly, and darkly they came. Isn't that the best song you've ever heard? Ever? I can't say how much I love that song. It's so cool. Oh. I'm just putting the guitar away. It's done. I'm not playing anymore. It's guitar. That's the best song. I just played it. So good. It's so good, and it just is so, it just kind of rounds the bases. Hits the supernatural, hits the human, hits the common, the familiar, the extreme. Just kind of ties that all together. I love that kind of stuff. Love it. What's up, Jay Friedman? How you doing? I was just feel like I've been coming across a lot of memories recently, and I've been posting a couple things to my personal page. Although, maybe it would be fun to share some of this stuff to the Gangstagrass page. I don't know. Like second cousin, thrice removed sort of stuff. But like, I'm in Gangstagrass. I'm also in these other bands. Sharing some memories of a Man About a Horse show at the Purple Fiddle, which is a venue that Gangstagrass has been to many a time. And this wonderful house concert. And I was just thinking about these house concerts the other day, where I was playing with a band called Blue Plate Special. And we played a song of mine that I had written, which I could play for you now, but it's just, it's with these folks really made it into a thing. So I feel like it wouldn't be doing it justice. So I will not. But maybe I'll share that video. And that might be good. That might be good. Yeah, Secret Agent Man, speaking of that, that's another song that really kind of thrives in that like full electric country western band, with that clean guitar sound. Not that it can't be done on a solo acoustic, but it would come out sounding more like Notary Agent Man, yes. Let's see. I had a thought the other day. I'm just free associating at this point. I had a thought the other day. I was thinking about what would make the banjo even cooler than it already is. And you'd say, well, that's impossible. It's already so cool. And I would say, of course it is, but we put a rover on Mars. Can't we make the banjo even cooler? Modern science and all that. And I had the thought, well, why not a double neck banjo? Now, if you, like me, just go off Googling double neck banjo, and you find the forum post on Banjo Hangout, and you find a couple of different double neck guitars come up, but very few double neck banjos. A couple of pictures, and there's this one conversation on the Banjo Hangout website where they're talking about a guy named Cranford Nix who had one, custom built. And the story from there kind of gets weird because there's this song that he played on with the Supremes on the Supremes Country Western album. Like, stop me if the story is too weird for you yet. Supremes Country Western album. This guy plays, I'm assuming he played the double neck banjo. Maybe he played a single neck banjo on this song, and it's called something like The Man with the Rock and Roll Banjo Band. Yeah, and that's the end of the story, because really, if you want to know, I think you're just going to have to go look up that song. But if anybody wanted to bet me right now $5, no, the Supremes did not have a country western album with a song called The Man with the Rock and Roll Banjo something or other, you can just pay me $5 right now. I will accept it digitally, because yes, it's real, it happened, and it's on Spotify. Yeah, that's how I spent my free 5 minutes the other day, looking up all that stuff. Eventually I'm going to crack that fiddle case open. Not now, but eventually. I'll tell you a secret. We were on a call the other day, the band and I, and we were talking about some new songs that we're working on. I will say no more about that for the moment, but that there are new songs coming, and we're working on them. And we were talking about this one particular song that I wrote, and I sent it around, and I go on the call, and I hear this nice fiddle playing, and it's coming from Wrench. I don't know if you all knew this, but Wrench plays the fiddle, and he was playing some nice little fiddle part on this song that I wrote, which was a really nice compliment. Especially when somebody's moved to do something that they don't normally do, because they like your song. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Ooh, we got somebody from Bretagne, which we were in the Brittany region of France a few years ago now. Where Montmartre-sur-Mer, beautiful spot, northwestern France, overlooking the Atlantic. Really nice area. That's where, if anybody's ever had Calvados, that's where Calvados comes from. It's a sort of a apple-based spirit. It's terrific. And they had this cocktail that was basically like orange juice and apple brandy, I guess. It was called a Petit Zeuf, and it was delicious. That was a good time. I don't know how much the algorithm wants me to sit around recalling good times. I feel like the algorithm wants me to get back to work. Um, That's a fun one. That's called Tennessee Blues. Tennessee Blues, and that is, I'm pretty sure, that's the funky timing that Bill Monroe does. That's a tricky one. That can be kind of a jam buster to call because there's a bunch of different versions. There's a few sort of dropped beats in there, and depending on who you're playing with, they might drop some of the beats or none of the beats or all of the beats or different beats. That can be a tough one to play. Which is a shame because when you sit with it, first of all, I mean the math of it, counting it, is not that hard. And it also, I think this is true of a lot of Bill Monroe's mandolin playing, which is not something that I personally revere or anything, but I have noticed, there are some, I'm not even really a mandolin player. First of all, I'm the banjo player in this band, so what am I talking about? But I do notice some things, some sort of conventions arising out of his playing, and a lot of it is like, if he's playing, there's, important melody notes, there's rhythm chucks, that sort of thing, and like, sort of clear melody stuff. And then in between, he doesn't necessarily leave a whole ton of silence. Like he's a band leader, right? So he's got a lot of that going on. That sort of, not just filler, but like there's a lot of information being carried in that. And I've noticed the trick for me, it's when I get into that B part, to the end of the form there, it's less about counting it, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or however you want to count that. It's less about that, because I'm not thinking that all while I'm playing. It's less about that and more about the amount of time that exists. This is actually kind of like lyric setting. This is like when you listen to country music and there's a lot of it takes as long as it takes. In the jailhouse now is a great example. He's in the jailhouse now. He's in the jailhouse now. Well, I told him once or twice to stop playing cards and shooting dice. He's in the jailhouse now. So counting that can be weird, but singing it is not weird. Singing it makes sense, right? There's a little bit extra time to sing all of the words. Very simple. I told him once or twice to stop playing cards and shooting dice. And now we're done, right? I'm not done until I've said all the words. And that's how you get a lot of these irregular line lengths and stuff in country music, and less so in bluegrass, but it happens. And I should learn some of those songs too, because they're great. Anyway, so that's kind of what's happening in Tennessee Blues. The way that Bill Monroe does it is he has exactly the amount of time that he needs to get all the notes out. The notes are all important, even the filler, dum dum dum, even that. It's all part of the thing. It's all part of the thing. So all of that is part of the thing, including that little filler. Dun, 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 dun. You have to do all of that and then go right on to the next part with the filler there too. So you have to do all the parts, and if you do all the parts, it'll all fit together. Now try explaining that to the accompaniment, but the accompanist just will count it or follow you or something. So does that? I don't know if that makes sense, but so again, you try to count that, you might get confused multiple times, but just make sure to play all the notes, and it'll kind of fall in order. That has been my mandolin lesson for today. Okay. No. There's so many tunes that I could do that just aren't. Ooh, here's a question. Cheers from Holland. We're just getting people from all over the world on this, which is very cool. It's very cool. I don't know if people observe St. Patrick's Day all over the world, but happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you nonetheless. I think it might be kind of a diaspora thing. So the question is, if you have to sing one song, just one song for you, without context or history, what would it be? That is a great question. That's going to be a very challenging question for me, especially on this live stream, because I always feel like I really should be giving a lot of the context or history, or like I want to explain, what did it like? Why do I care about something? Like what's the thing that makes that so special? So I feel like I'm always giving context and history to freaking, like if I just, if I play some little figure and I'm just like, but you have to understand that there's like 500 years around this that, you don't really have to understand, right? I mean, it's music. If you want to understand, if you want to learn the deeper meaning and all the like history and where the stuff comes from, it's my opinion that makes it, that much deeper and more, more satisfying and fulfilling. But you don't have to do that, and you don't have to be thinking about all that stuff every single time you listen to music. I mean, honestly, like sometimes I want to listen to like some metal or something that I don't have a lot of the context or understanding about it, or listen to music in another language that I don't understand, just so that I can listen to it and not necessarily have the analytical side of my brain running. And I'm realizing, of course, that may be why a lot of you enjoy listening to bluegrass music, because it's not something that you have a lot of the context for. So I certainly hope, my intention is not to demystify any of this stuff to the point where it becomes not fun. It should always be fun. And I hope that if I've, taught you anything or added anything, that it's only good. Exactly. What's the song that you want to play in a non-thinking way? I mean, I enjoy playing Tennessee blues. I played Mansions for Me earlier, not thinking about the lyrics at all. That's just a fun thing to play. You don't have to be beautiful to turn me on. I just need your body, baby. don't. You don't need experience. Turn me out. Just leave it all up to me. I'm gonna show you what it's all about. You don't have to be rich to be my girl. You don't have to be cool to rule my world. Ain't no particular sign more compatible with. Just want your extra time and your kiss. Got to not talk dirty, mama, if you wanna impress me. Can't be too flirty, mama, 'cause I already know how to undress me. See, I can be your fantasy, and maybe you can be mine. You just leave it all up to me now, and we can have a real good time. You don't have to be rich to be my girl. Don't have to be cool to rule my world. Ain't no particular sign I'm more compatible with. I just want your extra time and your kiss. Women, not girls, rule my world, rule my world, rule my world. Act your age, not your shoe size. Maybe we can do the twirl. You don't have to watch the Dynasty to have an attitude. You can just leave it all up to me now. My love will be your food. Don't have to be rich to be my girl. You don't have to be cool to rule my world. No particular sign I'm more compatible with. I just want your extra time and your That's the song I would want to play, Charlie Brown. That's the song that I would want to play for myself, because I like it so much. It's just a fun song. Not because Prince is an icon, not because of everything that it represents, but honestly just because it is fun. It's fun to do. Thanks, folks. Yeah, it is fun. It's fun. It's just, and you know what? I'm not even the only person who's ever done that. I forget who it was though. But Gangstagrass participated in the Philadelphia Folk Festival Cabin Fever event. This is just a few weeks ago. And in between the acts, they played old footage from the Folk Fest, and I don't remember the name of the person who was singing it, but it was I think John McCutcheon on banjo. So that narrows it down a little bit. But I should just ask the Philly folks, because they'll know. They'll know. I'll just be like, you know that bluegrass cover of Kiss? And maybe they would be like, you mean yours? And then I'd be like, no, not mine. The other one. The other one. The guy, because the guy, and he got up there and he sang in falsetto and stuff, and it was great. So, I don't know. Great minds, I guess, or something. No, great songs. Great songs. If it's a great song, someone's gonna cover it. And yeah, again, like, there's so much stuff I can't talk about, but we are working on a cover right now, and I would love to play it for you. I would love to even just play part of it for you, but I want to keep it a surprise for now. Suffice to say that maybe we will do a call on this, because I feel like I would want to do a video. So we might actually do something really interesting with this. But I'll just say, if you have any footage of, obviously, like any footage of our live show, it's always good to send that in. Send it along to us, because we love to see it. Just like post it on social media and tag us. Always tag us. We love that stuff. You have no idea how much we love that stuff. We're very vain people, and we see it all, and we notice it, and we care about it, and it's great. So anyway, if you're posting stuff, always tag us, and we may really want to see, like, have the original footage, and if you send it to us, it's possible we might be able to use it and stuff. Like, I'm just thinking, there's one particular cover that we're gonna do that I was just thinking it would be so cool if we did a music video that was like fan footage, because it's basically about, without getting too much into it or revealing it, it's basically about like how much we love what we do and we miss it and we want to get back to doing it again. So yeah, we really love you guys. We really do. I can't overstate that. And I know it's not something that's always obvious from the outside. It's not always obvious how much, like, the audience claps and screams and has all this demonstration of how they feel about the performers. So that's obvious. What's not obvious is that it's entirely the other way too. And we don't applaud and scream and stuff for you, and maybe we should. And I have this feeling that after this last year plus, a lot more of us might start doing that, because we've had to do this year without you, and that is, worth it if it means we all survive. And we aren't all surviving. A lot of us are not surviving. But if we can stay safe, hopefully many of us will come out of this okay. So, is it worth it? Absolutely. For safety, 100%. No question. I'm very happy to not be out there playing shows right now, if it means that we're taking care of each other. But, it's not fun. It's not fun. I'm not going to pretend, this is just so easy. So easy to just not play shows. I will admit there was a period for the first few months where I was like, man, I'm not burning out as much anymore. This is great. This is like a nice vacation, nice few weeks, nice month, nice couple of months. Okay, it's been half a year. Okay, it's been another half a year. So, definitely adding up, and being, it's not even that we can't get together and do it, because, like, we have had a few opportunities where, like, the five of us get together and play music. That's fine. It's fine, but it's not enough, because we're really missing you. We really are. And You ask any musician, and I think they'll say the same thing. So, if you got any footage you want to send our way, and I am. Thank you, Melody. I'm happy we're streaming too. It's not nothing. This is definitely something. And thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here for this. This is definitely making my day a lot easier, a lot more fun. So, yeah, we're announcing a few shows. Hopefully, announcing more shows. Hopefully, we will be able to make all of these shows. We don't. Part of the reason we don't announce shows when other people are announcing shows is because we don't like to announce shows and then cancel, right? We would rather just say we're going to do a thing and then actually be able to do it. And there's a lot of things still up in the air these days. International travel, getting groups of people together. And I would say, if you can talk to your local venue and just encourage them to be sensible. Like if the venue isn't requiring people to be responsible, if the venue isn't taking some responsibility, we're probably not going to come. Just putting that out there. So and a lot of people are not going to come, and you should not come. You should not come. I was just thinking the other day about, like, there was some show one time, and the presenter called us and was like, listen, I'm going to pay you folks. Do not come and play this show. I don't feel comfortable about it. And this was years ago. I don't remember what show it was. But, like, that's a rarity. That doesn't happen a lot. That was somebody doing the responsible thing and saying, I don't trust this. I don't feel like this show can be put on safely for you or for everybody. I don't think you should be there. And because I made a commitment, I'm going to honor that. And I'm going to, like, pay you what I agreed on. And that was just a really professional moment. And we were very impressed by that. And we remember that. Like I say, I don't remember which show it was, but I do remember that. And so I'm looking forward to shows. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And it's not going to happen if it's not going to happen safely. So, it's not worth anybody getting hurt over. So stay safe in your own lives. Do what you can. When the vaccine becomes available to you, avail yourself of it, and protect yourselves, protect your loved ones, protect the community. Let's get back out there. Yeah. That's all I gotta say for